Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Nishit Kumar and with me is Aditi Lumba with the evening news. The headlines. Delhi Regional Security Dialogue convened by India over Afghanistan situation to be held tomorrow in New Delhi. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval holds bilateral talks with his counterparts from Uzbekistan and Tajikistan. President Ramnath Kovind confers the Padma Award for the year 2021. Playback singer S.P. Balasubramaniam, Indian-American scientist Dr. Narinder Singh Kapani, and Gandhian peace activist Maulana Wahiduddin Khan awarded Padma Vibhushan posthumously. Former Assam Chief Minister Tarun Gogoi, Gujarat Chief Minister Keshubhai Patel, and former Union Minister Ramvilas Paswan honored with Padma Bhushan posthumously. India is poised to achieve services export target of $1 trillion by 2030, says Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal. Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia says 96 countries have agreed to mutual acceptance of vaccination certificates, terms that reflection of worldwide acceptance of India's vaccines and vaccination process. Over 109 crore 12 lakh COVID-19 vaccine doses administered so far under the nationwide vaccination drive. Election Commission announces biennial elections to Maharashtra, Karnataka, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh legislative councils. Relief and rescue operations in full swing in rain-affected Tamil Nadu. Met Department issues red alert for the next 3 days. And in the ICC Men's T20 Cricket World Cup, England to take on New Zealand in the first semi-final tomorrow. As India created history by administering over 100 crore vaccine doses against COVID-19, All India Radio salutes all the doctors, nurses, other frontline workers and all those who got vaccinated and made this possible. Even though the country has achieved this feat, we caution our listeners that the battle against COVID is not yet over. We appeal to our listeners to get fully vaccinated at the earliest and also help others get vaccinated. During the festival season, please follow these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask. Maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing and focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011 2397 8046 and 1075. And now the news in detail. Delhi Regional Security Dialogue, which is being convened by India over the Afghanistan situation, will be held in New Delhi tomorrow. The dialogue will be held at the level of the National Security Advisors or Secretaries of the Security Councils and will be chaired by India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval. The dialogue will witness participation of Iran, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyz Republic, Russia, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan. India had also invited Pakistan and China for the meeting. However, both the countries are not participating. China has said it is unable to attend the meeting due to scheduling issues but is open for dialogue with India on Afghanistan multilaterally and bilaterally. This is the first time all Central Asian countries, not just Afghanistan's immediate land neighbors, are participating in this format. The enthusiastic response is recognition of the importance attached to India's role to promote peace and security in Afghanistan. Sources said there will be discussions over security situation in Afghanistan, radicalization, extremism, drug production and trafficking. Threat emanating from military weapons left behind in Afghanistan will also be part of the discussions. The meeting will also deliberate on issues of humanitarian assistance in Afghanistan. Ahead of the Delhi Regional Security Dialogue, India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval held bilateral talks with his counterparts from Uzbekistan and Tajikistan this evening. More from our correspondent.
The high-level dialogue will review the security situation in the region arising from recent developments in Afghanistan. It will deliberate upon measures to address the relevant security challenges and support the people of Afghanistan, promoting peace, security and stability. 2 earlier meetings in this format were hosted by Iran in 2018 and 2019. The third meeting in India could not be held earlier due to the pandemic. India has traditionally enjoyed close and friendly ties with the people of Afghanistan and has called for a unified international response to address the security and humanitarian challenges facing Afghanistan. The dialogue is a step in that direction. Anand Kumar, AIR News, Delhi.
Speaking to AIR News, former diplomat Anil Wadhwa opined since important countries like India, Iran and Russia are participating in the meeting, a positive and definite outcome will be evolved.
I don't think there was any expectation from the very beginning that the Pakistani NSA would be attending this conference because, as I said earlier, Pakistan does not want India to play any role whatsoever in the process in Afghanistan. That does not mean that the others are unimportant. because you have very important players like Iran, like Russia, India. You also have the Central Asian states which border Afghanistan. Without their support, the Taliban government will be in difficulty. And I'm sure that there would be a positive way which will evolve going forward.
President Ramnath Kovind today conferred Padma Awards for the year 2021 on prominent personalities at the civil investiture ceremony held at Rashtrapati Bhavan. This year, the list comprises 7 Padma Vibhushan, 10 Padma Bhushan and 102 Padma Shri awards. These prestigious awards were given in 2 sets, for which the ceremony was held in the morning as well as in the evening. Here is a desk report.
Sculptor Sudarshan Sahu, archaeologist Professor Braj Basi Lal were given Padma Vibhushan, while playback singer S.P. Balasubramaniam, Indian-American scientist Dr. Narendra Singh Kapani, popularly known as father of optical fiber, and world-renowned Islamic scholar and Gandhian peace activist Maulana Wahiduddin Khan were awarded the Padma Vibhushan posthumously by the President.
Maulana Wahiduddin Khan मरणोपरांत अध्यात्म उनके पुत्र डॉक्टर सनिया सुनैन खान.
The list of Padma Bhushan awardees includes former Assam Chief Minister Tarun Gogoi, former Union Minister Ram Vilas Paswan, and former Gujarat Chief Minister Keshubai Patel, who were honoured with Padma Bhushan posthumously. Former Lok Sabha Speaker Sumitra Mahajan, retired civil servant Nripendra Mishra, and Dr. Chandrasekhar B. Kambar, a distinguished Kannada author, and senior Sikh leader Sardar Tarlochan Singh, who has devoted his life to public service, were given Padma Bhushan.
Sardar Tarlochan Singh, Lok Karya.
6-time national award-winning Carnatic and playback singer Krishnan Nair Shantakumari Chitra was conferred with Padma Bhushan, while veteran Islamic scholar and social reformer Dr. Saeed Kalbe Sadiq was conferred with Padma Bhushan posthumously.
Dr. Saeed Kalbe Sadiq मरणोपरांत उनके पुत्र Dr. Saeed Kalbe Sipten.
The list of Padma Shri awardees include social worker Lakhimi Barua, folk musician Gopi Ram Bargayan, Buraba Khat, artist Dulari Devi, musician Bombay Jayashri, and orthopedic surgeon Dr. B.K.S. Sanjay.
बड़े सौभाग्य की बात है. वैसे तो मुझे बहुत पुरस्कार मिले, लेकिन राष्ट्रीय नागरिक सम्मान मिलना, वो भी पद्म पुरस्कार मिलना, तो एक तो बड़े सौभाग्य की बात.
Besides, internationally acclaimed bill painter Buri Bhai, table tennis player Mohammad Das, and wrestler Virendra Singh were honoured with Padma Shri. Former Governor of Goa, Mridula Sinha, was given this award posthumously. Subhadra Ramachandran for AIR News.
Yesterday, the President had presented Padma Awards for the year 2020. One of the highest civilian awards of the country, Padma Awards are conferred in 3 categories, namely Padma Vibhushan, Padma Bhushan and Padma Shri in various disciplines and fields of activities including art, social work, public affairs, science, trade, medicine, literature, sports and civil service. Minister of Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal today said that India is poised to achieve services export target of $1 trillion by 2030. He was addressing the Global Service Conclave 2021 in New Delhi. The minister said that in 2020, India became the 7th largest services exporter in the world, moving up the ladder by 2 positions. Emphasizing that India had the potential to become the top services exporter in the world, Mr. Goyal said that services sector is boosting India's transition from an assembly economy to a knowledge-based economy. The Centre has amended the Legal Metrology Pact Commodities Rules 2011 for enhanced protection of consumer rights. The Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution has omitted Rule 5, defining the Schedule 2, prescribing the pack sizes of various types of commodities. A new provision has been introduced to indicate the unit sale price on pre-packed commodities, which will allow easier comparison of the prices of commodities at the time of purchase. The amendments will come into effect from 1st April next year.
Union Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia has said that at present 96 countries have agreed to mutual acceptance of vaccination certificates and also those who recognize Indian vaccination certificates of travellers fully vaccinated with Covishield and WHO and nationally approved COVID vaccines. These countries include Canada, United States of America, Bangladesh, Poland, Slovenia, Croatia, Bulgaria, Turkey, Greece, Finland, Switzerland, Sweden, Austria, Ukraine, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Russia, Georgia, United Kingdom, France, Germany, Belgium, the Netherlands, Spain, Kuwait, UAE, Sri Lanka, Mauritius, Iran and Australia. Dr. Mandavia said it is reflection of the worldwide acceptance of India's vaccines and vaccination process. He said the union government's commitment to accelerate the pace and expanding the scope of COVID-19 vaccination throughout the country has resulted in crossing the 100 crore milestone in administration of doses on 21st of October 2021. He said the union government continues to be in communication with the rest of the world so that beneficiaries of the world's largest COVID vaccination program are accepted and recognized, thereby easing travel for education, business and tourism purposes. Over 109 crore 12 lakh COVID-19 vaccine doses have been administered in the country so far under the nationwide vaccination drive. In the last 24 hours, more than 59 lakh 8,000 vaccine doses were administered. Over 10,000 new COVID-19 cases were reported in the last 24 hours, while around 12,000 people recovered. 332 people lost their lives during the period. The COVID recovery rate in the country now stands at 98.25%, which is the highest since March last year. The Uttar Pradesh government has set the target to inoculate 25 to 30 lakh people per day to provide at least one dose of COVID vaccine security cover to all the eligible people in the state by the end of this month. Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has asked officials to continue the vaccination in the state till 10 p.m. in the evening.
You're listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Delhi Regional Security Dialogue convened by India over Afghanistan situation to be held tomorrow in New Delhi. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval holds bilateral talks with his counterparts from Uzbekistan and Tajikistan. President Ramnath Kovind confers Padma Awards for the year 2021. Playback singer S.P. Balasubramaniam, Indian-American scientist Dr. Narendra Singh Kapani and Gandhian peace activist Maulana Wahiduddin Khan awarded Padma Vibhushan posthumously. Former Assam Chief Minister Tarun Gogoi, Gujarat Chief Minister Keshubhai Patel and former Union Minister Ram Vilas Paswan honored with Padma Bhushan posthumously. India is poised to achieve services export target of $1 trillion by 2030, says Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal. Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia says 96 countries have agreed to mutual acceptance of vaccination certificates, terms that reflection of worldwide acceptance of India's vaccines and vaccination process. Over 109 crore 12 lakh COVID-19 vaccine doses administered so far under nationwide vaccination drive. Election Commission announces biennial elections to Maharashtra, Karnataka, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh Legislative Council. Relief and rescue operation in full swing in rain-affected Tamil Nadu. Met Department issues red alert for next 3 days. And in the ICC Men's T20 Cricket World Cup, England to take on New Zealand in the first semi-final tomorrow. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
स्वाधीनता संग्राम के वे निशान जो साक्षी हैं हमारे सेनानियों के संघर्ष और बलिदान के। आकाशवाणी समाचार ला रहा है विशेष श्रृंखला निशान। हर बुधवार को शाम 4:45 पर कार्यक्रम परिक्रमा में FM गोल्ड 100.1 मेगाहर्ट्ज पर।
Welcome back. You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. The Election Commission today announced biennial elections to Maharashtra, Karnataka, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh Legislative Councils. 6 seats in Maharashtra, 25 seats in Karnataka, 12 seats in Telangana and 11 seats in Andhra Pradesh will go to polls on the 10th of December. Notification for the polls will be issued on the 16th of November. The Model Code of Conduct in the constituencies going to polls has come into force with immediate effect. Broad guidelines of COVID-19 as issued by the Election Commission in September this year will be relevant for this election also. A new low-pressure area has formed in the southeast Bay of Bengal and its adjoining areas. Indian Meteorological Department has sounded a red alert for the next 3 days. Under the influence of the weather system, extremely heavy rain is likely for the Delta districts and Ramanathapuram in Tamil Nadu and Karaikal region in Puducherry today. 6 southern districts of Tamil Nadu are expected to witness heavy to very heavy rain, while 9 northern and central districts, including Chennai, are set to experience sporadic heavy rain. Our correspondent reports rescue and relief measures are being carried out in the state on war footing.
This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts. Best wishes to all consumers for Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Hallmark ensures purity of gold. Always purchase Hallmark gold jewellery. For any consumer-related complaints, please contact National Consumer Helpline's toll-free number 14404. Issued in public interest by Department of Consumer Affairs, Government of India, Jago Grahak Jago. As the nation celebrates the 75th year of independence, a series of events are being organized by the government as a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. And now, let's listen to a special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. India's glorious fight for freedom is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the valiant struggle every day.
On 9th of November 1947, Junagadh was annexed to the Indian territory. Junagadh was a princely state in the Kathiawar region, where most of other princely states had already acceded to India. The ruler of Junagadh was Nawab Mahbat Khan Rasool Khan Ji.
In May 1947, Shah Nawaz Bhutto from Karachi became the Diwan of Junagadh. Under his influence, the Nawab decided to accede to Pakistan on 15th of August. Though the Nawab had earlier given the impression that the future of Junagadh lay in joining India.
To satisfy the popular demand of the people of Junagadh, the then Prime Minister of India, Jawaharlal Nehru, made an offer to Pakistan to accept and abide by the verdict of the people of Junagadh in respect of the accession of the state to either of the dominions. People of the Junagadh were becoming agitated with the Nawab, and the situation was becoming tense with each passing day.
After failing over a month to get a response from Pakistan to the offer, India put in place a series of measures that held the threat of military action against Junagadh. The Nawab of Junagadh fled to Karachi by air with his family and his pet dogs. On 8th of November, Bhutto asked the government of India to directly take over the administration of Junagadh through the regional commissioner at Rajkot.
India had indicated that it would want to formalize the arrangement through a plebiscite. This was held on February the 20th, 1948. Of around 2 lakh registered voters, only 91 cast their votes in favor of the accession to Pakistan. And thus, with the wish of the people, the princely state of Junagadh became a part of India.
Today is also the death anniversary of Pushpalata Das, a freedom fighter from Assam. At the age of just 6 years, she joined the Banar Sena to popularize the khadi among the people and organized Chakra Sangh. Being inspired by her mother, she took pledge to free the motherland and never looked back ever since. At the age of 14, she was expelled from high school for protesting against the hanging of Bhagat Singh.
During 1940, her studies came to an end when she was jailed for individual satyagraha. From the year 1940 to 1942, Pushpalata Das was in Bombay as a member of the Women's Subcommittee of the National Planning Committee. During that period, she worked with Mridula Sarabhai and Vijaya Lakshmi Pandit for development and constructive works.
In the year 1942, Pushpalata Das married Omio Kumar Das, who was also a true Gandhian and a social worker.
after her marriage, Pushpalata organized the Shanti Bahini and Mrityu Bahini with her co-workers in Tezpur. Pushpalata was supposed to lead the procession to put the national tricolour flag on the compound of Gokpur police station.
However, at that time fate intervened and Kanaklata Barua took charge over the procession from Pushpalata Das and fell to the British bullets. Post-independence, she served as a member of parliament. She also worked as an editor of a well-known Assamese magazine, Jayanti.
Pushpalata Das was offered the Tamrapatra by the Indian government for her services rendered during the freedom movement. But she refused to accept the Tamrapatra. The noble soul breathed her last on the 9th of November 2003 at the age of 88 years.
9th November 2021 is also the 125th birth anniversary of eminent nationalist, journalist and freedom fighter Kottamaraju Ramarao, who was born in Chirala in Andhra Pradesh in the year 1896. An eminent editor, Kottamaraju Ramarao had worked in Lala Lajpat Rai's publication The People and over 25 newspapers in the metropolitan cities of undivided India, including Lahore and Karachi. He is remembered for editing the Daily National Herald in Lucknow, which Jawaharlal Nehru founded in June 1938. In August 1942, Ramarao was jailed for 6 months for his editorial in National Herald, in which he attacked the British government for torturing Congress satyagrahis in the Lucknow camp jail. His cellmates were Shiv Varma and Jaydev Kapoor of Bhagat Singh's historic Lahore conspiracy case. Ramarao was elected to the first Rajya Sabha as a Congress nominee from the undivided state of Madras in 1952. Mahatma Gandhi called Ramarao a fighting editor when he was working with Bapu in Sevagram Ashram. Atal Bihari Vajpayee called Ramarao the Dronacharya of Indian journalism.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar AIR News ke Sang. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
The Indian Navy played a critical role during the liberation war of Bangladesh in 1971. Its Operation X incapacitated the supply lines of Pakistan, forcing it to surrender quickly in the war. The Indian High Commission in Bangladesh organized a program on a book named Operation X written on this subject. Our special correspondent from Dhaka has filed this report.
The High Commission of India in Bangladesh organized a book reading session today to discuss the role of Naval Commando Operation named Operation X during the 1971 Liberation War of Bangladesh. The role of the Indian Navy in the Liberation War of Bangladesh in 1971 was described by the war veterans from India and Bangladesh. 3 naval war veterans from India and several others from Bangladesh took part in it during the book reading of Operation X, authored by Captain M.N.R. Samant and Sandeep Unnithan. The co-author of the book, Operation X, Sandeep Unnithan, described the events that took place during Operation X.
Operation is possibly one of the largest such naval guerrilla operations after the Second World War, and this involved training 432 Mukti Bahini fighters from Bengal, from East Pakistan, to become combat swimmers, which meant that they were taught to swim carrying limpet mines. They were trained as naval saboteurs, and this training began somewhere in April or May of 1971, and it went on till August of 1971.
On the occasion of the Golden Jubilee celebration of the liberation of Bangladesh and the birth centenary year of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, many programs are being organized by the High Commission of India in Bangladesh. Rajesh Jha for AIR News, Dhaka.
Ahead of the Delhi Regional Security Dialogue, India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval held bilateral talks with his counterparts from Uzbekistan and Tajikistan this evening. Sources said that during the meeting with Tajik counterpart, detailed exchange of views on Afghanistan with significant convergence of assessments took place between the two sides. Both sides expressed concerns on the sharp increase in terrorist threats from Afghanistan in recent past, and Tajik side highlighted gravity of situation in Afghanistan. Besides, discussions on looming humanitarian crisis in Afghanistan also took place. On bilateral side, discussions took place on deepening cooperation in areas like defence, border management and border infrastructure development. At the stock markets, erasing its early modest gains, the Sensex at the Bombay Stock Exchange ended 112 points lower at 60,433 today. The Nifty, the National Stock Exchange, shed 24 points to 18,044.
With the UN Climate Summit or the Conference of Parties COP26 in Glasgow around, All India Radio brings to you a ready reckoner every day. Under the COP26 Explainer series, we shall bring you the terms and concepts in use during the conference. Today, we shall talk about adaptation. Adaptation is the process of adjustment to climate change and its effects. The purpose is to reduce the harms and utilize the potential opportunities. AIR News spoke to Anish Dey, Global Head, Power and Utilities, KPMG, on the importance of climate adaptations.
We are seeing escalating events of climate change with greater intensity as we move forward. The adaptation will help protect citizens, it will help protect industries, it will help make the world more livable in the face of the climate adversities which we are going to face. And adaptation is also very important because it helps the wider population at large and particularly the poor. So this is where it has to be a great part of the focus along with mitigation. It will require a lot of effort. It will require a lot of financing to happen. We haven't seen that kind of financing yet come into adaptation. But as we go forward in time, we have to see a lot more focus on adaptation.
Kharna is being celebrated today on the second day of the 4-day Chhath Puja in several parts of the country. On this day, devotees keep fast for the whole day and break their fast after worshipping the sun god in the evening. They offer kheer, puris, fruits in the puja. After taking prasad in the evening, devotees go on a fast without water for the next 36 hours. Ghats along various rivers, ponds and water reservoirs have been decorated. And in the ICC T20 World Cup 2021, India beat Namibia by 9 wickets in Dubai last night when India made 136 for 1 in 15.2 overs after Namibia scored 132 for 8 in the stipulated 20 overs. Now England and New Zealand will play the first semi-final tomorrow at the Sheikh Zayed Stadium in Abu Dhabi, while Pakistan and Australia will play the second semi-final, which is set to take place on Thursday at the Dubai International Cricket Stadium. These are the 4 teams that have qualified for the semi-finals of the ICC T20 World Cup 2021. And now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital Delhi will have shallow fog. Mumbai and Kolkata will have mainly clear sky. Chennai is expected to have cloudy sky with heavy rain. Srinagar, Jammu, Leh, Gilgit and Muzaffarabad will have mainly clear sky. Visakhapatnam will have generally cloudy sky with haze. Thiruvananthapuram will have generally cloudy sky with a few spells of rain or thunder showers. In Puducherry, there will be generally cloudy sky with heavy rain. Guwahati and Imphal will have fog in the morning and mainly clear sky later. Shillong will witness partly cloudy sky. Aizawl, Kohima and Itanagar will have mainly clear sky. Gangtok will have mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Nagartala will have fog in the morning and mainly clear sky later. And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Delhi Regional Security Dialogue convened by India over Afghanistan situation to be held tomorrow in New Delhi. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval holds bilateral talks with his counterparts from Uzbekistan and Tajikistan. President Ramnath Kovind confers the Padma Awards for the year 2021. Playback singer S.P. Balasubramaniam, Indian-American scientist Dr. Narinder Singh Kapani and Gandhian peace activist Maulana Wahiduddin Khan awarded Padma Vibhushan posthumously. Former Assam Chief Minister Tarun Gogoi, Gujarat Chief Minister Keshubhai Patel and former Union Minister Ram Vilas Paswan honoured with Padma Bhushan posthumously. India is poised to achieve services export target of $1 trillion by 2030, says Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal. Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia says 96 countries have agreed to mutual acceptance of vaccination certificates, terms it reflection of worldwide acceptance of India's vaccines and vaccination process. Over 109 crore 12 lakh COVID-19 vaccine doses administered in the country so far under the nationwide vaccination drive. Election Commission announces biennial elections to Maharashtra, Karnataka, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh legislative councils. Relief and rescue operations in full swing in rain-affected Tamil Nadu. Met Department issues red alert for the next 3 days. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.